What's happening? It's now time to jump into medical school interviews. And med school interviews that I had were Glasgow, Edinburgh, and Aberdeen. And I applied to those three because it's the three that would accept the access course that I sat. They were all different. Edinburgh was the first one. It involved a panel presentation. It involved the group work to prepare that presentation. It involved different stations where you were interviewed by 2 or 3 medics, and it involved a more kind of formal, just sit down interview, and that was really insightful. It was also led with a tour around about the medical school, which was really nice to see, and all in a very nice experience. And if you've watched the rest of my videos, that is where I ended up. That's where I went to study medicine. After that, it was Aberdeen, and Aberdeen was another great experience, albeit 2.5 to 3 hours in the train up to Aberdeen, taxi ride from the train station to the university or the medical school. But again, an interview process that was stations with different aspects involved in them, how you would deal with situations and what your kind of capacity to solve complex or abstract problems, and how to take data in and come to some sort of conclusion and some diagnosis of sorts. So that was a really good experience as well. It was very well laid out, very well thought out, very well planned out. And then we had the opportunity to tour and see around the hospital and the medical school, which was fantastic. Again, Aberdeen, the University of Aberdeen, they offered me a place to study medicine. It just wasn't my first choice when Edinburgh was on the doorstep. And lastly was Glasgow, and Glasgow was a horrible, a horrible medical school interview. The University of Glasgow, where it was very frosty. They had you sitting in long corridors for extended periods of time, waiting on being called. It was good cop, bad cop in one of the interviews, and it just wasn't a nice experience. It seemed very almost threatening, like not a nice environment to be in, not very warm or welcoming or receiving. And inevitably they didn't offer me, so I may be biased against the University of Glasgow because they didn't offer me the place, and it probably would have been my first choice to study medicine because as a 35-year-old man, Edinburgh has a 6-year degree, Glasgow's a 5. That 5 years would have been preferential to me and at the time and what I was thinking I wanted to do. 5 years would have been better than the 6 that I was entering into with the University of Edinburgh. However, those were the 3 universities that I interviewed at. I did become a medical student at the University of Edinburgh, and that was just a phenomenal experience. But what is, and this is something you have to think about and really consider when you're making a life decision, what does that life look like? Again, it's coming back to the who. Who is a doctor? What do they do for their life? What do they think? What do they feel? What sort of challenges do they have? What aspects of their life are you actually working to get to? And there's so many aspects of a doctor's life that you don't want to have. So to say you're a doctor and a medic and someone who helps people on a daily basis is a phenomenal thing to be, do, and have. However, if that affects every other part of your life and gives you a negative life on the whole, then that is not a worthy investment of your life energy, in my personal opinion. There are many other ways, and perhaps even becoming a doctor or a medic and then going somewhere abroad to practice medicine, because the NHS is a total mess right now. And it's a phenomenal thing because it gives us free healthcare. However, it is crumbling around about us, and I don't think that is a very productive or good energy to work in or invest your career into right now. And I think that's a big challenge for the NHS, is to try and attract and keep high level staff, high level medics who will come into the profession and stay here for the long haul and give their career to the NHS. It is a very difficult thing to ask of right now. So that was my medical school interview process. I was successful with both Aberdeen and Edinburgh. I did choose Edinburgh. I did study Edinburgh, study medicine at the University of Edinburgh, and it was a spectacular experience, and something I'll never forget, because at 13, I wrote away to the British Medical Association. At 35, 22 years later, I became a medical student. I became a member of the British Medical Association. I still have the card. I will keep them, my BMA card and the student card from being a medical student. It's just a nice wee experience to have banked in my life, and to know that I have the capacity, that if I put my mind to it, to do anything that I desire in this life. And now I'm living that truth. I did have glimpses of that in my life, but now I'm living it. That's it for today. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Not massively great lessons today, just again to reaffirm the fact that consider the choices you make in your life, because you have to then work out who lives that goal that you're working towards. And if their life is not a representation of how you want to live, then it's not the goal for you. Have an epic evening, and I'll catch you tomorrow.